Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In today's video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of September 15th through September 21st, 2025, and I'm working with the September Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this is the week of September 15th through 21st. And I am working with the September Stories by the Month kit. And this is also, because it's Stories by the Month kit, the week that I'm going to do my pieces of September. And I actually have a ton of stuff that I have saved. But we're going to work on the layout first, and then we'll do that part second. Actually, I kind of want to do that part first, even though I normally do the layout first. So I think I'm going to do the ephemera first. And then I will, no, you know what? I'm not. Sorry for the confusion. I will add timestamps in the description and so that you can jump if you wanted to, just that piece. But I'm going to do this part first because otherwise I think that will mess up the flow of the video. So I have this page protector that has 9 3x4s, and this one has some 4x6s. So I might not actually want to use them as 4x6s, but we'll see. I did print one 4x6 photo, which is a photo in my kitchen. And I have a lot of just random photos this week, partially because not a ton was happening. I was very busy at work, so a lot of it was related to that. But also I got a new iPhone, and so I was playing with the camera. So I have some photos of Pumpkin. See, this was from a friend, and here's Pumpkin again. Thinking something like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these as 4x6 pockets, but we'll see once I get into the products. So I have all of this ephemera. So essentially during the month, as I live through the month, I just throw all of this stuff in my box with the Stories by the Month kit. So I have it as things to pull from when I'm ready to put together my ephemera page. But now I'm just going to take this whole stack and put it off to the side so that I can focus on actually putting my spread together. Okay, so, there's more ephemera in here. We are working with the September Stories by the Month kit. So I have some chipboard and ephemera pieces or die cut pieces that are in here. I have the sticker sheet, and then I have my cards. So I'm going to do the cards first. I'm actually going to go through the 4x6 first to see if there's anything I want to put in these 4x6 pockets. I also am going to have off camera my take a note with my notes of kind of what happened to know the stories I want to tell. So I kind of really want to use this card. And then let's see, we've got this one. It would be good to cut up. So this was kind of actually a hard week. So I'm thinking I'm gonna want some hidden journaling for that. I'm not entirely sure which card I want to use, but we'll see. So I think this one I do want to use as a 4x6, just to kind of have a little bit of a filler there, which means I might want, I'm not sure. I'm just going to put that like that so I know the number of pockets, and then after I choose things, I can rearrange them. So this one definitely would be a good one for just some journaling. So this one is really good for the hard story, but it's bright red and it feels like it just doesn't really go to me, so I don't think I'm going to use that one. And then we've got this Hello September, which is also good for journaling. And there's these 3 details cards, which would be good kind of paired together. I want to tell 3 stories. There's also these 1, 2, and 3, which would be good that go with those. And honestly, that'd be kind of cool if I didn't have this one printed, to do these, like this 1, 2, and 3. I kind of want to still do that and tell my 3 stories, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I have 3 stories to do that. So I definitely have the phone story. And then I have my rough story, which I really want to put in hidden journaling. So I'm not sure if I want to use one of these for that. And then let's see what else happened this week. I think I mostly just have a lot of little stories this week. So I feel like I kind of want to save these for another spread. So I'm going to just put these aside and not use them today and go back to my original plan, because I do want to use my 4x6 photo here. I do want to, and I don't even know if I want to put those in 4x6, but I'm going to save those for another project, another spread. So let's continue here. We've got September vibes, these vellum pieces. Okay, so I kind of think that would make a good title card. I can just put a label on there. And then this can be about the new phones. And this can be like my general stories. And then I do want to put some hidden journaling. So I think I'm going to do that in here somehow. Let me look through these again. Thinking I could just cover it with like the vellum, and I really like this card, and I kind of like the idea of stitching through this, but I'm not entirely sure how I want to make this work. So I'm gonna think about that more. I'm thinking I kind of want to just turn it into a pocket, a stitched pocket maybe. I'm gonna look in my stash to see what I have to go with that. Okay, so these are my 4x6 journaling cards that are in my category of me, heard, encouragement. And I have a ton of them. So I'm gonna just push this to the side, and I'm gonna go through this really quickly with music on and see if anything jumps out to me as working. Okay, so I went through that and I found 3 cards that I like. This one is good for journaling. This one I think makes a good front card, and then this is a flip up. So when I want to do hidden journaling in Project Life, there's kind of 2 ways I will handle this. One will be a flip up. So that means you can flip this open and read what's written underneath. The second is a pull out. So this would be in here, and then behind it, there would be a card like this with a tab on it that you could pull out to read. So I originally was thinking I was gonna do a pull out and maybe create a cover with this, but this wasn't going with anything else I had in my stash. And I think it's because it's yellow, it's hard to make it visible on top of something. Like even if I put it on top of there, like I guess you can still read this, you can't read that. But like it just fades into things. So I'm not gonna use that one. I'm gonna use this because I really liked this quote for what was going on. So what I'm gonna do is create a flip up because this I think makes sense for the story. And then I'm gonna put this on the inside here so that one, it's gonna use another card, but second, it's gonna cover up some of what I used to create the flip up. So I'm gonna look and see what we have in here. Let's see, we've got this tag, we've got these little story cards. You know what, I'm just gonna go through this whole little thing of embellishments and see what we have. So this kit I think has a lot of large or smaller die cut pieces, which I really like. And then we've got these tag chipboard pieces this month, which are super cute. And then we have these, which would also be a great repeated element on some 3x4 cards. And these, which would be a great repeated element. So let's see here. We've also got all these little guys. Okay. So I don't know that any of these are going to work for this, but I do like them as repeated elements on the spread. I'm going to put this guy away because I don't think I'm going to use him because I am using this card. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to go look in my stash for a tab. Oh, there was another flower too. Because I think I want to put this together first and then I'll work on the rest of the spread. Okay, so I went in my stash and pulled out some of the tabs that I have that are more fall themed. And so this one is September. And this one was in October. So I'm thinking I want to use, and these ones were a Halloween kit, but they would also work like the memories one. And I kind of want to use that one because well, this is copper though, and that's gold. So maybe not. Maybe I should use one of these. This one, the colors go more because it is a previous September stories by the month. Thinking maybe I want to use like this one. Here, I feel like I'm not on camera. This one, sorry. So let's see, how do I want to do this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just fold this guy in half. Okay, then put this off to the side. Move some of this stuff out of here. And I need to make my flip cards. So what I'm going to do is grab some washi that I don't really care about. And this is a wider washi. It's still sticky, but it's very old. So this would be a good one for my hidden flap. So I'm going to fold this because I want this to go like that. But I'm going to fold it while I do the washi so that it has enough space. And that just tore off because this is a really old washi. So fun fact, if you are unaware, washi tape does go bad. And it seems like this one is getting there. But this is an older tape that I had in my stash that was just a pattern that I wasn't really going to use. So rather than throwing it out, I put it in my bin to use for things like this, where I don't care what the washi shows. Okay, so then I'm just folding it around like that. I'm going to use my scissors to trim off the extra washi here on the edge. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. Next, we need to add our tab. So I'm going to use some rolling adhesive. Just stick this tab in here like that. And then I'm going to stick this guy on top. Okay, now we've got that. You can leave it like that. I want to add one more strip of like a neutral washi, so I'm gonna grab this white washi that I have and add this strip on the outside edge here, just to provide a little bit of extra protection so that it doesn't fall off. And again, you want to fold it over while it's closed, so that if you don't do it while it's closed, if you do it while it's open, it's not going to lay flat when it's closed. There we go. And now we have this little tab here. And I might want to add some stitching or a staple on there, but I don't need to worry about that quite yet. Now I have my flip up created. And I do need to do my journaling, but I'm not going to do that yet. Now I'm going to figure out the rest of the cards in the rest of my layout. Okay, and I think I want to put pumpkin there. Okay. So now we want to go back to all of the pieces I have. I really like these ones, and I feel like I could maybe use these on my spread somehow. I'm trying to see if I could use them all. I think I could put something like that on there. So these guys are 3 by 4 across. So I'm thinking they could go all the way across these 3 by 4 photos. Problem is, this one is this red, and I feel like the red doesn't really go. I have it in that heart, which is fine, but the rest of it, I feel like it's too much. So let's continue. I do need something on there. I also have these ones. I could use these ones. Or these little tags. I think I want to use one of these guys on here for my title, for my date stamps. And then I need something in these 2 pockets and this pocket. So I'm trying to decide what I want in those and why. So I know that this pocket here is going to hold my new phone story. And then I think I could do like so I have a hard story to tell that I want to put in here, but I also have just kind of like, this was also a rough time in general that I think I could put on this one. That would also go with this September UGG thing. And then I do need my bullet point list. So I could use this one and just make my own. And then I kind of like the idea of just like making a nice filler card here. With maybe that on there. Oh, and then I have this one. And again, I have all of these guys. So this is a filler, so I don't want another filler right next to it. So maybe I should do some journaling over here. Let's see. I know I'm kind of like moving stuff around and overthinking it, but I also kind of want to talk you through my process. So I think what I need is like a prompt card. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back in my stash and see what I have for there. So this one looks really good color-wise, but I'm not sure I have anything with that prompt. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so I really like how that one looks. So what I'm gonna do is put this one. Okay, this is my new plan. Phone. think I like that. I'm not the only thing I really don't love is this being red. So I might just not use that and find something else. I could maybe just use this one. Yeah, and then maybe I'll just put this on my kitchen. I don't love the red, but maybe I can make it work by bringing in some red somewhere else on the spread. But I like this one, and I rearranged this because this one has little arrows, and I'm gonna write more of this. And I'm just gonna make a bullet point list and less of this bullet point list of things I'm looking forward or trying to shift because this has been such a hard season. So I'm gonna go along with this being my jumping off point. And I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on voiceover and get this one put together.
Okay, so I'm starting by picking up all of these little pieces and putting them back in my tray. As I craft, I have a tendency to put everything out on my desk and it's all scattered all over the place and I lose things and I don't have space to work. So sometimes just moving things out of the way is super helpful to keep me on track and help me think about what I want to do next. So I'm starting with this filler card that I have on the top right corner of the left-hand side. And I know you can't see the pocket on screen, but I will slip it down or I will pull it down fairly soon. But what I'm doing is just backing this piece of vellum onto a 3x4 piece of white cardstock, or actually I think it's just thin white paper, and adding one of the chipboard pieces on it just to be a filler card. I trimmed this vellum down from one of the 4x6 ones because I just liked it as a basic background. And I put that one aside because now that pocket is done. Now I'm going to work on my title card. So I used one of the chipboard tags and I'm just adding my stamps with a rolling date stamp, adding the dates on there. And then there's a little bit of extra space on this chipboard. So I'm going to pull over the word phrase strips from the kit and pick one to add in there along with my dates. And my goal is to use a few of these word phrase strips across the spread. If you are new here, one of the things I like to do in my scrapbooking or in my project life is repeat embellishments across the spread. So once I use something once, I have it kind of in my recipe of things to pull from. So you'll see those word phrase strips come up again. Next, I'm working with these 3-inch die cut pieces. So one of my goals was to use all of these on the spread, and I do end up doing that. One of them actually did fall on the floor during this process, and I totally forgot about it. It's the one that says I Heart September, if you saw it in the beginning of the video when I was laying everything out. But I will find it on the floor after I finish filming, so you'll see it in the completed photos where I end up putting it. But for now, I'm just finding space for all of these strips onto, most of them are going on 2 3x4 photos, but a couple of them are going on other cards just so I can use them. I think they're pretty. I just really like the way they look, and I love when I can use up an entire set of things on one project. So I'm going to do my journaling on this card. I added a bullet point thinking I was going to do a bullet point list, and then I realized that's not actually how I want to use this card. So I want to do my bullet point list on this card. So I pulled that one over. I also want to test out my pen. And so I tested it out on the back of one of the cards just to make sure it works. This is a Rytec fountain pen with a fine nib. So this pen was gifted to me by Rytec, and I shared a little bit about it in my recent vlog. I think it's super fun. It's left-handed and it works really well, and it has a great price point of about $20. It's super, super smooth for black ink, and you can highlight over it and it doesn't smear, which is great for a fountain pen ink. That's not very common, but it is not like other fountain pens because you can only use this one ink in it. So in my mind, that's not really a fountain pen. I don't know what makes something a fountain pen versus a gel pen, but for whatever reason, this one's not. This is considered a fountain pen, even though I don't think of it like one. So yeah, it is still one I would recommend though if you like gel pens or if you are interested in kind of getting a feel for how fountain pen write. So while I was working on that journaling, I found that photo of me holding up that gift from my friend Barbara. And I had completely forgotten about it. It had gotten lost in the stash of things. So now I have too many pockets. I have one extra 3x4 photo that I don't have space for. And I was trying to decide what to cut. And of course, that card from Kelly Perky would be the obvious choice because that's the one that I added when I realized I was short a pocket. But I really love it. I love the colors of it with this spread. I feel like it looks like it goes with this kit. And so what I ended up doing was cutting that story card, which I was going to use to journal about the new iPhone. And instead I decided to use one of these little circles from the kit. So I'm going to cut this die cut piece in half along this line and use the white half as just like a journaling spot on top of this photo of my phone. So I was thinking about it, and the story about getting a new iPhone, while definitely noteworthy and something I want to document for the week, I don't need a full card for it. I really don't have that much to say about it. So I decided that this little half circle would work just to document, that when we got the new phones, what phone we got, and us setting them up. And I also wanted to make note of the fact that this was the first time I'd ever pre-ordered a new Apple product. So I was super excited about that, to be kind of like getting it on that very first day when anyone could get it. So I had fun with that, and I'm just journaling that on here. And I end up adding a tiny attacher staple just to add a little bit of texture to it. And then I'm going to call that one good. So I did rearrange the cards a little bit to account for the fact that I had that extra photo and I wanted to have more balance across my spread. So now I have a couple of photos here side by side. I have that other part of that circle, so I wanted to use it. So I ended up putting it on this photo with pumpkin. I don't love that those are on two pockets next to each other and that I don't use any more of those circles on my spread. But because I already used this 3-inch strips, I felt like most of my photos were pretty busy already with embellishments and decor. I could have maybe added one on that calendar photo, but I'm happy with how it turned out and just leaving it on those two spots. Now I'm doing my journaling here, so I'm just ignoring the fact that I put that bullet point. I'm just going to write over it and whatever, it's fine. But this one I'm just documenting about how I was really struggling this month with work. And so we're traveling next month, and usually whenever we travel, I'm always super busy the month before, because although I have plenty of vacation time that I can take off of work, I have responsibilities at work that don't just kind of go away when I'm gone. So I have a lot I have to do to prepare to be out. So that was a lot this month. Plus I have to prepare all of my content for YouTube and Instagram for while I'm gone. So I have a lot to do to kind of get ready for vacation. And that on top of a few other personal things and work things going on, it was just a really hard month. So I journaled about that a bit on that card. And on that flip up card, I journaled about a specific personal story that was really hard that I wanted to keep private. So I didn't share it on here, but I also put it in that flip up so that if someone is flipping through my album, they would have to actively open that up. And that just makes it a little bit more private in my mind. But I know anyone could do it who's looking through the album, but I like just having it hidden so it's not part of your initial glance of the spread. This card here that says the more of this and less of this, I used this to document some of my micro stories from the week that also related to these prompts. So for more of this, I said slow journaling and planning, sunshine and enjoying the moment, easy dinners like whole food soup, which is what we did one night, cookie dough snacks. I've been really loving snacking on just little batches of chocolate chip cookie dough in the afternoon. And then less of stressing over work, second guessing myself, being too rigid, and worrying and being too afraid to try, which is something I've been struggling with a lot. I added a word phrase strip on that photo of pumpkin, and that's where I'm actually going to add that other 3-inch strip later when I find it after I finish filming. And then I'm going ahead and slipping everything in the pockets because at this point I'm done with the main part of the spread other than adding that 1 3-inch strip that I will add later after I'm finished filming, just because I find it on my floor as I'm cleaning up after I'm done with the video and the spread. After slipping everything in the pockets, the next thing I need to do is work on my ephemera page, but I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at everything. I have to trim this one down so that it fits in the pocket and just make sure I like the final placement of everything. I do that initial layout when I'm putting together the spread of what I think is going to go in which pocket, but I don't really finalize it until I'm done with the spread, because after you fill everything in, then you can really see the weight of the card and see how everything balances. I'm going to move that out of the way and put away a lot of these supplies, put them back into the tray. You see I have my tray up in the right-hand corner. That's where I store my current kits as I'm working on them. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to leave it in there for a little bit until I'm ready to put this kit into my stash, which is something I will do fairly soon. Now I'm going to move on to my ephemera page here. So I'm just cropping down ephemera from the month. I do end up adding some word phrase strips onto a couple of them, and I'm adding a few notes just to identify what they are. But essentially, I'm just going to do this and have fun with putting everything in the pockets. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thanks. Bye.